over the whole patch. This is quite a big one this time. We have quite a big patch. There's actually a ton of balance changes. A lot of like spell reworks and even a new ability. They've even added a completely new talent, which has not been seen, you know, for many, many eons. So this is a big one. We'll go over everything in it. It's a PTR patch, so it's not live yet, but these are the patch notes as of today, April 21st, 2025. So first of all, we have some general changes. Anduin replacing Malfurion as the ally hero in try mode. I believe the reason why they do this is usually when you go into try mode, I go into try mode a lot to make new videos and to test things. And it's really annoying because you have to disable your allied hero if you don't want it in the way all the time following you. So now, instead of scrolling all the way down to M to uncheck Malfurion, you can maybe disable it faster. That's nice if that's the change. Also, we have some updated music and home screen. They've been doing that every patch. This stuff, nice, no big deal. Next, we have Storm League. This is pretty big. This is, in my opinion, this was always a no-brainer. So, rank decay only applies to players in Master and GM League. I don't have strong feelings about this either way. They probably did this because they don't want GM players going to Diamond every season, for obvious reasons. So I understand that. Now the potential problem with this is in North America, it's like really hard to get GM games, and that's why most GMs end up playing on Diamond accounts. So there might be a little bit of a problem with that, but we'll see. Maybe this incentivizes people to play on GM accounts again, and maybe it won't be so big of a problem if more people play on GM accounts. The bigger change here is they're reducing the party size for Master and Grandmaster players to 2. So basically, if you get to Master, from Master and above, you can't 5 stack anymore. You can't 4 stack or 3 stack. Master and above will now be solo duo queue only, and I think this is a very good compromise. This was the most obvious compromise. So they didn't add solo queue for a long time because they want players to be able to play with their friends, right? But a lot of people that want to play with their friends, like there are people that will not play HOTS if they don't get to play with their friends. But most of those people, I would say almost all of those people, are under Master's rank. Those guys are all more casual players. If you're trying to just play with your friend, play with your buddies a couple games, almost all the people that want to do that, they're under Masters. If you're above Masters or if you're in Grandmaster and you're on the leaderboard, you're like a sweaty nerd. And all the sweaty nerds, they don't, they're not like that. They're grinding for their spot on the leaderboard. They're grinding for rank points. They're grinding for ego and glory. And you really want that environment to be competitively, viable. You want there to be competitive integrity for your leaderboards. So that has not been the case for a long time. I think this is a great compromise. With this compromise, basically everybody that wants to play with friends can still play with friends. But if you're some super sweaty grinder and you want to play for top leaderboards, then you can't abuse 5 stacks to get unfair advantages to, get way more rank points than everybody else. So that's really good. I think this is a great change. A very big change too. I did not think they were ever going to do it. All right, now let's go to balance updates. We have quite a lot of these balance updates as well. So Ana, first of all, Ana's getting some buffs. Biotic Grenade, the W. If it doesn't hit any enemies, you get some cooldown refunded. That's nice. It's kind of weird if you throw your grenade and it doesn't hit any enemies, but whatever, whatever. Casual, friendly change. I'm okay with it. If the W only hits Ana, then it also gets a 2-second cooldown reduction. I like this because this is a buff to Sergeant Ana. When the W only hits Ana, the only time that ever happens for me is when I'm playing Sergeant Ana, and then I kind of just keep my W for myself because I don't care about anyone else. I'm just trying to get stacks. Got to heal myself at all costs. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a great Sergeant Ana buff. Sounds good to me. On top of that, there's another Sergeant Ana buff here. This Vampiric Rounds talent, this is the stacking level 1 talent. So they buff the stacking level 1 now. Now you just passively get a bonus. That's nice. I'm always down for stacking Ana buffs because stacking Ana is kind of a meme. It's not actually strong, but it is fun, so I'd like them to make it more viable. So I like that a lot. And now we have one of the bigger changes in this patch. Okay, so this is Deadeye. This is Eye of Horus, the sniping skill, sniping ultimate. Level 20 now is reworked essentially. So the functionality is reworked. Basically, they gave it the Stukov's level 20 treatment where you can do one at a time now instead of doing all of the casts at the same time. So you can now toggle it on or off. It's only got like a 0.5-second cooldown, and now you have charges. Right? You have these snipe charges that you get every 10 seconds. You will. I'm thinking this is every 10 seconds you get one snipe charge back. And then you can just use them individually whenever you want now. And the bonus lasts for 7 seconds. This bonus is at level 20. If you hit like an ally or an enemy with the snipe, the next snipe does like more damage and healing. So that's what that bonus is, I believe. Um, and some dude on Reddit, KrugLK, made a short video, so I guess it looks like this. Yeah, so it's gonna, you can cast, uncast, recast, cast, uncast. So now you can just American sniper whenever you want. You don't have to use all the bullets. So that's what it looks like. All right. Next we have Asmodan. This is really big though, If they're gonna be doing this kind of talent reworks, I think that's really good. That obviously, it requires some coding changes. It's like a little bit of work, a little bit of extra work. So they're doing more and more extra work stuff with HOTS, which is very good. And if they're willing to do it with this, I think they would be willing to do it with Lyrics March as well. I think it would be a great idea if the janitor did this with March as well. Like, make it so that March level 10, March kind of sucks. If you could make it so that you could march once at a time instead of 3 times at the same time every time, March would actually be a lot better. So, yeah, somebody pass that along to the janitor. That would make that talent much more fun as well. All right. Now, Asmodan has one change, but this is like a massive change. I don't think this is going to go through the way it's worded because this is like way too OP if it's worded like this. So Trample level 16 is already a good talent. It's an underused talent, but it's a good talent. It's not bad. This is a very underrated talent. This thing does like 500 AoE damage, and it gives you a dash, and it's on like a 20-second cooldown, really short cooldown. So they're proposing that if you hit a hero with trample, you reduce your heroic cooldown by 25%. Now this number seems way too high to me. The obvious synergy here is with demonic invasion, which is a 100-second cooldown. So like if this goes through, every trample you hit takes 25 seconds out of demonic invasion. That's too good. I feel like that's way too good for Backdoor Asmodan. This is basically like Backdoor Asmodan will get twice as many ults as he used to after level 16, right? Like that sounds a little too good to me. That's way too much backdoor. So yeah, if this goes through, expect a lot of backdoor Asmodan. I think they're gonna nerf this number though. It sounds a little too high for me. All right, going on. It only gives cooldown only one time for your heroic. Yeah, but even one time is too much. If it only works one time every time you cast Trample, that's still 25 seconds on a 100-second cooldown ultimate, and Trample is a 20-second cooldown. So every 20 seconds you can reduce your 100-second cooldown by 25 seconds. So that basically works out to like you're gonna have a 50-second ultimate because you're gonna be able to use this twice. Uh, Yeah. All right, moving on to Genji. So Pathfinder, this is a really interesting one. This is the talent that they've been trying to get people to use for like 8 years, and just no one will ever use this. This is green level 1 Genji talent. Right now, what it does is when you jump over a terrain, you get a move speed boost and you get an invisibility for like a few seconds. So now they're adding to that you also your ults will also heal you for up to 30% of damage dealt to enemy heroes. The healing amount is increased based on how low your health is, right? So That is a really interesting one. Spell Steal on Genji Ultimate. It's really, really interesting. Obviously, probably much better synergy there with Dragon Blade, but really interesting. All right, we also have a X Strike nerf here a little bit. The cooldown got increased, but the damage got buffed a little bit to compensate. Um, I do think this is overall a nerf, though. X Strike was like the cooldown was, short cooldown was really good. So I would say this is like a slight nerf, but since they buff damage, it's not that big of a deal. You can still use it if you want for sure. Shingon does less damage to structures. This makes sense. Shingon did a lot of damage to structures, so they don't want you backdooring with it, I guess. It's fine. Makes sense to me. And then Living Weapon is X Strike's level 20 upgrade. They increased the cooldown reduction probably to match the cooldown increase here. I'm guessing, you know, so that you'll be able to hit the same number of heroes as before to fully reset your X Strike. It'll still be proportionally very similar. So that's fine as well. Now, this Pathfinder Genji ability did sound really OP to me at first, but I saw the video of it and it didn't look very good to me in the actual video. So you can see the video here, right? So this guy is at like 1 HP. And look how, and he's swiping two heroes, which is about as good as you can hope for on average. A two-hero swipe at 1 HP, like that's not gonna happen very often. And his HP bar went from like there to there. Like that's like I think he got 300 HP there. It's 149 heal times two. At 1 HP, that doesn't seem that good to me. Like look at the HP bar. It's really not going up that fast. So yeah, it's like it sounds OP, but it does not look OP. That looked pretty crappy, if I'm gonna be honest with you, considering that was the best case scenario with you at 1 HP. Like that's not enough to matter. That's not really gonna be enough to matter that much. That's kind of whatever, but yeah, still better than before since it's just a buff. All right, moving on to Imperius. We have more changes. You could get insane healing if you chain X strikes. You could, but if you're chaining X strikes, you're probably not dying anyways. You're just like permanently invulnerable anyways. Um, so we have a little bit of a molten armor buff here. Hits an extra target if no enemy heroes are in range. They're doing something here where they're trying to. This is like they're trying to make it so you can kind of wave clear on Imperius, but this is still not good enough to actually wave clear. So he's still going to be really bad at wave clearing. But that's the idea here, I believe. They are also buffing level 1 Q talent. It's just, I think they're just, if you pick this talent, your Q cooldown goes down by 2 seconds, which is really good. The Impaling Light now does 180% more damage to heroes, reduced by 20% for each additional hero hit. So the old version is 75% extra damage on your Q. So this new version is just always a buff no matter what, right? If you're hitting one hero, you're getting 180 damage. Old version, you get 75. So this new version, even if you're hitting 5 heroes, you're still getting 80% more damage. And the old version, you're getting 75 no matter what. So this is just always a damage buff. And this cooldown reduction is always a buff as well. It used to be minus 1.25 seconds for every brand on the target. Now it's only 1, but you get a flat 2 on top of that. So this is the equivalent of having 8 brands, like proccing 8 brands, which is like almost full brands on 3 different people, right? So this cooldown is basically always a buff as well. So they're buffing the cooldown reduction, they're buffing the damage. Level 1 Q is just getting buffed. Like mana cost buff. It's just a lot of buffs. More kebabs for everyone. Yeah. I don't even think it needed a buff, but apparently the stats didn't look too good. Sounds good to me. That's my favorite Q level 1 talent anyways. All right, so this is a very small buff to level 7 W. The W Level 7 creates like a line that explodes after 2 seconds. Now it explodes a little earlier. That's like a tiny buff. Sure, why not? Holy Fervor, big nerf. They are kind of removing the extra 2 cleave auto attacks you get every time you press E, because they're compensating it with this instead now. So, yeah, nerf to this. It's still gonna be by far the best wave clear talent though. If you need to wave clear, if you're on the 3-lane map, you need to double soak. Like it's still gonna be Holy Fervor way better than. This is basically the only way you could possibly double soak still. So there's still that. And level 20, we have the shield level 20 upgrade. All shields created will no longer expire. Kind of weird, kind of cool. Practically not that useful, but I guess theoretically you could level 20, your team's just all huddled up doing a merc camp. You just freaking ult your team, and then maybe you don't fight for another minute, and then your team just goes in with like a shield, and then you have another ult on top. Like maybe super late game you could get some value out of that, but in solo queue that's probably not going to happen very often. And this one, the level 20 ultimate, when the shield expires or when the shield gets removed, it fires like one sword that does a little bit of damage at someone. So that sword can now fire at anyone instead of only heroes. And then there's a new level 20 talent where your molten armor will hit 2 targets even if enemy heroes are in range. If you go like full E build, this doesn't sound that good to me. Like it doesn't sound like it's powerful enough to be a level 20, but like a full E build with your E hitting 2 heroes, it's decent. Doesn't sound strong, but could mess around with it. It's a new talent. It's cool. I'll take new talents even if they're not the strongest. All right, moving on to Lunara. We have Splintered Spear. I'm not even sure what this is. The added functionality grants 3 stacks. Every time you attack an extra target, a stack is consumed. Like this kind of sounds like how Splintered Spear already works, but now you just have like this stack mechanism. Like I'm not really sure what the difference is here. Maybe someone knows. If you know what the big difference here is, you can type it in chat. A stack is consumed when an extra target is attacked. Now you can attack 2 targets twice instead of just one activation. And you wanna, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that. So maybe it'll allow you to have multiple splinters, because the way it works right now is you press Q once, and then your next auto attack is it, right? Like you're either gonna get a big splinter or you're not. And if you don't, too bad, you don't have any more splintered spear. So maybe this allows you to do like multiple autos. If you don't get like a really good splinter the first auto, maybe it still saves it and you can still use it. That's pretty good. If that's what it is, that's pretty good. A little mana refund here, no big deal. And then another big one here. This is a completely new talent at level 20 for the Wildlands. Your Thornwood Vines now shoots 4 more vines in an arc. So this sounds cool, sounds pretty effective, but more so than anything, this is just like a brand new talent, right? Once again, they haven't made new talents in HOTS in like 8-9 years. We haven't had a brand new talent in eons. So it's just kind of interesting we're getting a brand new talent. That's cool. I think there's a video demonstration of it on this video somewhere here. Let's go look for it. Oh, that's the Imperious one. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I mean, that looks pretty cool. That actually looks good enough to pick too. Like that's a pretty good level 20. It looks like five of them in a cone. You got 3 charges of this as well? Oh my god, you got 3 charges of this shit? That looks really strong actually. Like the entire enemy team is gonna be poisoned for sure after that. Yeah, that's cool. Really cool new talent. And now Forest Wrath can be selected with either heroic. So this one's kind of weird. Forest Wrath was the Vine upgrade that made your Vine apply 3 stacks of your passive right away, and it gave you like more vision range and something. So I'm not really sure what it means by you can select it with leap, because the talent specifically says your vines gives you 3 stacks of your passive. So I'm assuming it means that your leap would also give you 3 stacks of your passive instantly on anyone you leap on. I'm assuming that's probably what it means. And then it's just going to be a more generic buff at level 20. All right, moving on to Malthael. We have a base W range increase. That's really nice. Malthael's W range is really important. Really, really nice buff here. Black Harvest quest reduced. That's good because this quest sucks. So good that it's getting a small buff. Tormented Souls is getting kind of like a medium rework. So no longer resets the cooldown of your W when it ends, but it reduces the cooldown of your W to 2 seconds while Tormented Souls is active. So obviously this is going to synergize really well with the W build that gives percent damage on your W. And at level 20, if you have 2 or more heroes in the Tormented Souls, the duration does not decay. So this could be insane at level 20 with the W 8% damage AoE talent at 16. You could just it's not that hard to get 2 people in a Tormented Souls. So as long as you don't die, you're just spamming your 8%. You have 8% AoE damage, true damage, percent damage on a 2-second cooldown. Like forever.
Just resubbed for
So
38
this
months.
sounds really strong as long as you don't die. So this could be really strong. And then we have Zagara with the long-awaited percent damage nerf. A lot of people hate playing against percent damage Zagara. A lot of people think it's overtuned, it's too strong. I agree, I do think it's too strong, so a little bit of a nerf here is good. However, I would have liked them to buff some of the other talents, because the other talents suck. Or at least the auto attack one kind of sucks. So I would have liked the auto attack level 16 buff here to compensate, but didn't get it here. But overall, I guess it's still a good thing. But this is just like a straight up Zagara nerf then, because this is the only good build for Zagara really. And then they have a ton of bug fixes, which I'm not gonna read all these. Janitor still working overtime with a ton of extra bug fixes. So that's about all for this patch notes. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to make this a YouTube video too, so if anyone watching the video has any comments or any thoughts on any of these changes, leave them in the comments below, and I would love to read everybody's thoughts on the patch or your copium on HOTS 3.0. All right, cool. There you go. Back to your regularly scheduled points losing stream. Valera is something different. They basically made the shitty Valera build even shittier. The assassinate build. They just changed the damage from multiplicative to additive. Whenever anything gets changed from multiplicative to additive, I basically read that as it does less damage. So the Valera assassinate build does less damage. That's the bug fix.